So it's gonna be a thing now, like everyone's gonna get this. Instead of like actually stopping the habit and be considerate to the rest of us.
No, it's not. It's not about me being considerate to the rest of you. It's me being considerate to everybody who has undergone that.
Do you want to see the video?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Wait. What are you wearing? Is it a swimming costume?
No, it's singlet.
Oh,
Because it's very hot.
Sorry. It's very hot. So you wear singlet.
I don't want to stain my white shirt.
Oh.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so carry.
Okay, wait. You're not wearing socks, Gordon.
Yes, I'm not. You're not wearing socks either.
I'm not, but I don't need to. This is.
Okay, we'll just find it later.
Okay. Gordon, are you ready to talk about Lee Kuan Yew? And then,
No, but you just cannot
do a reprisal of that
You
quote.
need to guess who it is first. It's part of the process. Just tell the person first. Just guess.
Okay. Okay, everybody. Amnesia.
Yeah. Forget his speech. His speech didn't exist.
Oof.
For now, for 6 minutes. Otherwise, not fair, bro.
1, 2, go.
Father, founder, politician, power. These are just some words people casually associate with the man I'm speaking on today. This man is multilingual, able to speak English, Japanese, Malay, Mandarin, and other Chinese dialects. Yes, my speech today is on the former Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. Being educated in Singapore, I was actually forced to take this subject called social studies, and in primary school and secondary school. And as a child, I found it a huge nuisance. Well, first of all, it isn't tested in primary school leaving exam, or tested as an O-level subject. Second of all, I found it boring. Lee Kuan Yew, David Marshall, Sir Stamford Raffles, these were just names I had to remember. As I grew up, it hit me how grossly mistaken I was at the significance of the information I once brushed off as mere propaganda. In just 40 years, Singapore was transformed from a slum to a first world country, and Lee Kuan Yew was a propagator for this transformation. During his long rule, Singapore became the most prosperous country in Southeast Asia. As I read more and more about this great man, I felt more and more in awe of his achievements. This was a man that listened to the people, talked to the people, and stood up for the people. This was a man who ruled with an iron fist to bring in an era of gold. This is a man who against all odds prevailed. Today, I'm going to commemorate this remarkable man, and I'll be focusing on the qualities that he has that stood out to me. His devotion to his work, his foresight, and his tenacity. Lee Kuan Yew is truly a man devoted to his work. Born into a wealthy Chinese family, he went to Cambridge to study law after World War II and returned to Singapore to be a politician as a member of the political party People's Action Party, otherwise known as PAP. He was Singapore's first Prime Minister from 1959 to 1990 and remained in office from 1990 to 2011, first as a senior minister, followed by minister mentor. After serving his long office, he could actually comfortably retire. After he was prime minister, he could just retire. But instead, he decided to stay in office and continue to serve Singapore and serve the country and ensure that Singapore continued and sustained its prosperity and continued growth. He cared so much for the country that he couldn't bear to step down. Such devotion and dedication stood out as I learned about this great man. Apart from being devoted, Mr. Lee also had great foresight. Lee Kuan Yew experienced the Japanese occupation firsthand and knew that for Singapore to truly prosper, its independence would be pivotal. Sorry. Mr. Lee had the foresight to not see what Singapore was or is or what it could become. To compensate for the lack of natural resources, he approached Malaysia for a merger. To compensate for the lack of military in Singapore, he initiated the National Service, which is mandatory military service for male citizens in Singapore for 2 years. to compensate for the lack of compensate for the small workforce in Singapore, he attracted foreign talents to come work in Singapore. His ability to foresee the problems Singapore might have in the future was crucial to Singapore's prosperity and continued growth. Peace and prosperity do not come easy, and we should not forget the foundation that peace is built on. Lee Kuan Yew is a tenacious man as well. Mr. Lee believed in the merger, and was heartbroken when it fell through. The tears that he shed will forever be remembered as a testament to how much he cared. However, I would like all of you to focus on what he did after. Imagine the low that he was in. Imagine the pressure he was under. Singapore, like many things, Singapore didn't have a military. Singapore didn't have natural resources or any money for that matter. And in fact, rioting was going on in the streets. Against such odds, Lee Kuan Yew did not give up. Instead, he thought of ways to solve the problem. Money was pumped to education because Lee Kuan Yew knew that education was key. The slums were transformed into high-rise buildings, and the river was cleaned up. Singapore was rebranded as a tourist attraction and as a viable place for investors to invest their money. The Singapore you see today and the Singapore you see 50 years ago, it's a huge difference. I want all of you here to take a second and let this all sink in. Imagine being the leader of a country that has nothing but its people. You've gone through a war, and the country is in need of repair. The country you were backing on for help has just left you for nothing. An ordinary man would have caved, an ordinary man would have given up, an ordinary man would have stepped down. But Lee Kuan Yew is not an ordinary man. In nearly 40 years, he transformed a city filled with strife and rioting to a country filled with prosperity and peace. What we have today is built on the foundation that is Mr. Lee's sweat, blood, and tears. He was a remarkable leader, able to rally the people and inject hope when all hope seemed lost. He crafted his speeches so that the common man could understand his views and ideals. And when he spoke, people believed. And to end my speech, I would like to leave you guys a quote that epitomizes the man that Lee Kuan Yew is. He said this: "Even from my sick bed, even if you are going to leave me, lower me to the grave, and I feel something is wrong, I will get up." Thank you.
Thanks, Gordon. Gordon, how much do you practice for the speech?
Not enough.
Why do you hesitate so much?
As in, like, I don't know, I just.
And at what point